Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and insert extraneous material on H.Res. 430.
Without objection.
And, Mr. Speaker,
The House shall come to order. The gentleman may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, this is a dark time. This Congress is being tested, in this case, not by a foreign adversary, but by our own president. A president who is undertaking a relentless campaign of obstruction and stonewalling. We have never seen anything like this. Never before, Mr. Speaker, has a president of either party so flagrantly ignored Congress's constitutional oversight authority and our nation's separation of powers. You don't have to take my word for it. President Trump has declared, quote, "We are fighting all subpoenas, and I don't want people testifying," end quote. These words make Richard Nixon look like an Eagle Scout. His Attorney General, William Barr, is apparently more than willing to follow the President's command. He has refused to release the full, unredacted Mueller report and the underlying evidence until a compromise was finally reached yesterday. That's after the Judiciary Committee had already voted to hold him in contempt of Congress. Apparently, the Attorney General went from being America's lawyer to being the defense counsel for the President of the United States. I hope the Justice Department acts in good faith on this new agreement. These are documents that Congress needs to see in response to Special Counsel Mueller's findings. But if they do not, and if the Attorney General holds back key information, then all options need to be on the table, including enforcing these subpoenas. That's in addition to the fact that some documents and testimony we deserve to obtain could very well fall outside the bounds of this agreement. And the Mueller report is just the tip of the iceberg. The President is using every trick in the book, including false claims of executive privilege, absolute immunity, and lack of legitimate legislative purpose, all to obstruct legitimate inquiries into matters that impact Americans' daily lives. This includes the President's attack on the affordable health care coverage for millions of Americans, including those with pre-existing conditions, his family separation policy that has torn apart vulnerable immigrant families, his misappropriation of military funds for his offensive border wall, and his decision to roll back landmark civil rights protections. This is exactly the sort of concentrated power in the hands of the few that the founders intentionally prevented through the creation of the 3 separate but co-equal branches of government. Each branch with unique powers and responsibilities, and each branch expected to act as a check on the power of the others. But the President is trying to take this balance of power and centralize it in one place, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. He's acting as though the law applies to every American but himself. The President's strategy here is clear. Tweet by tweet, quote by quote, he's laid it bare for all of us to see. The question is whether this Congress will have the courage to take a stand against it, whether we will confront this for what it is, an attack on the very notion of Congress as a co-equal branch of government. Now, I can't speak for my friends on the other side of the aisle, but this Democratic majority will not allow this President to turn a blind eye to the rule of law. And that's why I introduced this measure, H.Res. 430. It is a civil enforcement resolution that will strengthen our hand in court as Congress tries to get the documents this administration is currently trying to hide. So if we can uncover the truth and follow the facts wherever they may lead. The first part of this resolution follows past precedent used by Democratic and Republican majorities, this time to allow the Judiciary Committee to go to court to enforce subpoenas issued to the Attorney General and former White House General Counsel Don McGahn. The second part reaffirms key language in House rules, making clear that every committee chair retains the ability to go to federal court to seek civil enforcement of their subpoenas when authorized by the Bipartisan Legal Advisory Group. That includes those already issued as well as any future subpoenas. Now, I know some of my colleagues on the other side will be quick to claim this resolution is unprecedented. To them, I would ask this: what is the precedent for an administration refusing to comply with any congressional oversight? No documents, no information, nothing. There isn't one. There isn't one. We have never seen anything like this before. So we need an appropriate response like this because of this administration's constant obstruction. I'm proud that my fellow committee chairs quickly joined in co-sponsoring this resolution, including Oversight Committee Chairman Cummings, Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Engel, Judiciary Committee Chairman Nadler, Ways and Means Committee Chairman Neal, Intelligence Committee Chairman Schiff, and Financial Services Chairwoman Waters. And I urge my colleagues all of my colleagues to join us. This deserves support from both sides of the aisle. Now, I know the silence from some of my Republican friends to what this president is doing has been deafening, but this moment demands you finally speak up and say enough is enough. This resolution is not about politics or partisanship. It is about defending the rule of law and the very notion of separation of powers. Because the challenge here is so great that if we don't stand up to President Trump today, then we risk losing the power to stand up to any president in the future. So I strongly urge my colleagues, let's make clear that the law still matters, even in Donald Trump's America. We can do that by voting yes on this resolution and making clear that no one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. Let's do right by the American people. Let's restore the dignity of this institution, and let's pass this resolution. I reserve the balance of my time.